One for you. 50% of men regret choosing the woman that they have married.
It makes me think of a date I went on and the topic of his divorce came up. And so I asked him, was there a particular moment where you knew the marriage was over? His response was, the day he got married. Of course, perplexed, I said, well, if you knew she wasn't the one, why did you still marry her? His response was, because she was a good girl, she wasn't crazy, and they had been together for 3 years, and he was 30. It's particularly cruel to string somebody along knowing that you're just settling on them. Motivation was more out of a sense of duty and the stage of life that he was in and what he felt he was supposed to do. He didn't marry her because he loved her.
Nobody gives a fuck about being married. Nobody. I don't know anybody that wants to be fucking married. Everybody that I know is married wants to be fucking divorced. Nope. I'm telling you right now, nobody I know wants to be married anymore. Nobody I know, they want out of their marriage. They want to be fucking divorced. I don't know why you guys glamorize marriage like it's this fucking end game. It's not the fucking end game anymore. Women don't want to be in that bullshit anymore. They don't want to do every fucking thing. And then you be fucking horrible and cheat and lie. Most of you, not all of you. Nobody gives a fuck about that anymore. Nobody. They don't want to deal with this shit anymore. They don't want to be around you. The smell of you. When you pull in the driveway, they want to... What the fuck don't you people understand? What don't guys understand? They don't want to be a trad wife to a dude that doesn't pay for everything. That doesn't do everything. If the woman is a trad wife, you do everything else. And you guys don't want to do it. No, because you want to be the woman and the man, right? You want to be the woman and the man. Something your mom taught you growing up, right? You were the husband to your mom, who was the wife. No woman is going to be a trad wife to a motherfucker that ain't going to do everything else.
At the age of 54 and 2 divorces later, let me give you the marriage advice I wish that I had listened to. Love is not enough. Marry for character, not just chemistry. You're not just marrying them, you're marrying their habits, their debt, and their family drama. Marriage will never fix loneliness. The wrong person will make it worse. You can't marry potential. You're not a life coach, you're a spouse. Being alone is way better than wishing you were. The right person will make you feel safe. The wrong one will make you feel small. We'll figure it out is not a financial plan. Some people don't want love. They want control. Learn the difference. You should be excited to marry them, not just relieved that they finally committed. Be prepared to marry the whole family. Period. Hope that helps.
I know the TikTok sheikhs are going to come for my neck, but I don't really believe in marriage. Not in modern day, at least, because I would say that the majority of the time it doesn't work out. And even when it doesn't end in divorce, it ends in absolutely hating and resenting each other towards the end of life. And the reality is that in most marriages, women get the short end of the stick. Like, women are the ones who have to sacrifice their careers, their health, their well-being to take care of their husband and the children. And in modern days, a lot of women are still working at the same time as doing all of that other stuff that has always been an obligation for women. I'm not like a psychopath, so there's still a part of me that like craves it. Like, I yearn for it, but logically, I just don't really care for it because I don't think that it's going to benefit me, honestly. I feel like it's actually going to stunt my growth. It's going to stunt my career. It's just going to stunt me in so many ways, and I'm going to grow to hate that person. I didn't have to be in a marriage to have observed that in literally hundreds of marriages of the people around me. There's also a part of me that's just skeptical about the idea of being with one person for the rest of your life. And because so many people go into marriages with such high expectations, like they think it's going to significantly improve their lives, and then they're like quickly humbled within the first few years of marriage, I just feel like that actually sets people up for even more pain and heartbreak. Because society and just like our families have raised us to glorify marriage or to see it as like our end-all be-all purpose in life. And when you are disappointed by that, it leaves you lost and broken and confused. Yes, there's still a part of me that like yearns for it. I do feel lonely every once in a while, but I know that I'm better off alone. And I'm more so in the mindset of like, if it happens, it happens, but it'd have to be like the most ideal situations. Otherwise, I just don't think that it's worth the time and effort and pain. Not to mention, in marriage, a lot of women's needs and their how can I say this without pissing people off? Their desires are very rarely met. There's that aspect of it that actually leaves women feeling very frustrated. And then when they're not satisfied in their marriages, a lot of times the men will then go seek out other women because they can't satisfy their wife. Like, I just can't. Why would I put myself through that? I've seen far too many marriages that have failed, or if they haven't entirely fallen apart, they leave, at least the woman for sure, just feeling so broken and regretful of even getting into the marriage in the first place. Like, most of our moms and aunts and everybody, they're miserable in their marriages and they regret marrying the men that they married. So part of it is also just like the fact that they didn't choose well, but like, that's the reality for most women. Man, the sheikhs are gonna come for my neck.
I don't feel anything.
You will never be able to convince me that getting married is going to be the best day of my life. I don't care if I'm marrying Prince Charming, the man God designed for me himself, or a God himself. It's not going to happen. There's a lot of propaganda out there that makes women feel like getting married is going to transform them into this ultimate being and they're going to fucking fly off into the abyss of happiness and joy. And I get it. We grew up watching all these romantic Disney movies of princesses, and it just romanticized this idea of being a wife and how amazing it's going to be. But isn't love supposed to be part of the story and not the entire story, especially for us women? I once heard about this study that says that men are happier because they play. They play sports, they play video games, they interact with each other in this jovial, fun way. That's just for the pure purpose of entertainment. Whereas women, we don't do that. We grow up and we have to take care of others, and being this unpaid caretaker becomes our role as a person and who we should desire to be. I'm not going to speak for every marriage dynamic because I know that's not the case with everyone, but for a lot of people, getting married means becoming that caretaker forever, till death do y'all part. A wedding takes on a life of its own. It's not a ceremony that's celebrating two people. It becomes this extravagant event to flex in front of others. And it's just, for a lot of people, sets them back financially, for even starting their own family, for getting a home, for taking care of themselves. And it's just an industry that really is supposed to make women feel like this is what we should surround our existence by, this idea. So yeah, I'm not falling for it. I never have. I never will. If and when I get married, it's going to be beautiful. I know that, but there's so many other things that I live life for, and I'm excited to do and be a part of and to explore and to see and experience. So am I alone with this?
For many, many years, women were raised to believe that it was better to be married and miserable than happy and single, because proximity to men came with a level of protection and security. A woman's worth and value was essentially tied to her marital status. Now, eventually, women were able to have more rights and more autonomy. However, that programming still remains, because whenever a woman shows no desire to be married or to have children, she is met with backlash from people who are trying to convince her that she's going to end up lonely and that she's making a huge mistake. What's worse is there are some people who would actually view this as some sort of character flaw, like something is wrong with someone, something is wrong with a woman who has shown no desire to be married or to be a mother. Just the thought that women are actively choosing to be single does not sit right with them at all. Which leads me to believe that some people's concern was never about women's happiness. Instead, they're more concerned with access to your time, your energy, and your reproductive organs. They're more concerned with access to your genitals, your free labor, and your life force. When women decide that they're going to hit the unsubscribe button to marriage and to children, it is going to cause an uproar. And naturally, the people who are benefiting from that system are going to resort to scare tactics to regain control. You hear them saying things like, those women are going to die alone. No one's going to take care of you when you get old. You're going to end up with cats. And you'll hear those things from both men and women. Because remember, some women have internalized misogyny. So they believe the programming as well. They believe that their value is attached to their marital status or the fact that they're in a relationship, their proximity to men. Male-centered women will continue to push this narrative as well against or onto other women to make them feel like they need to conform and to toe the line, give in to societal pressure. So unfortunately, in 2024, there are still so many women who are married and miserable, and they cannot envision a life outside of that. Many of them don't even have an identity outside of the marriage because they were raised to just be someone's wife. That was the goal. And after that, after they've achieved the goal, they don't even know what comes next. So they will remain there for years with their free labor, with the access to their reproductive system, with the access to their life force, and everything that comes with that. And they will remain there for years. They will become a fossil. They will become fossilized, mummified in their marriage. And what's so sad is that most times many of them are the first ones to judge the women who chose a different path, because deep down, they wish they could be her.
I hate being fucking married. I long for the day to be single again. The only thing that's causing me to stay and stick it out is because I've been a housewife for 10 years. And to get back out there in the workforce with a mental illness, some fears that I have. But I literally do hate being married.
So I don't know this person's situation at all. I don't know anything about their relationship. But I can tell you that research shows that about 69% of conflict in relationships is unresolvable. And that oftentimes leads to a lot of frustration. And the problem isn't necessarily the unresolved conflict. The problem is that people don't know how to fight fair or find compromise through that unresolved conflict, which leads to more friction and ultimately more frustration, to a point where people may want out even if a situation can be resolved.
As a 49-year-old woman who's never been married or had children, I wanted to take this time as I made my cup of coffee to explain to you all the reasons why I regret never having children or getting married. Coffee is done. Waiting for my froth to be frothed. That is done. To my cup of coffee. Ready. Good. Now I'm going to start the rest of my day, and I hope that answers all of your questions. Bye now.